Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall with your next Premiere Pro tutorial. In this one we are continuing our little practice on transitions, and we're going to talk about a whip pan transition. If you remember back in the shot list, a whip pan was one of the camera movement types that we practiced, and I also mentioned at the time that it can be used as a transition, and this is how. I'm going to show you how we do it as a transition. So, quick little recap on what it is. Talk about the whip pan. We're going to learn what it does and how to practice it and edit it ourselves. And just like we did in the previous lesson, the whip pan is one of the editing techniques it talks about in the Studio Binder video. We won't watch the entire thing right now. You can watch just a little clip of it. It talks about less than a minute talking about the whip pan transition. So we watch this part in class, or you can watch this video part on your own, but I'm going to skip through it for a second. And let's talk about what a whip pan is. So if you remember, a pan is a turn of the camera, and a whip pan is a rapid turn of the camera. We turn it so fast that it creates a blurriness in the middle of the shot, except for a whip pan transition, we're going to use that blurriness to transition between shot 1 and 2. So you'll see shot 1 and the blurriness whips into shot 2. So we're starting outside and we whip inside, just like that, with the simple turn of a camera and a simple cut in the middle. So this is an example of what you're going to practice, and then what you'll do on your own. So we'll take one shot that whips one direction. So you can see this is the first shot you just saw. I'm outside and I just do a quick whip to the left. That's it. And then shot number 2, same thing, except I'm inside. I do a quick whip to the left again, except I'm inside. So that's it. Each shot is only a couple seconds of a quick little turn, and we're going to cut in the middle of both clips. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut on the blur of both clips, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to keep the first half of the first clip and the second half of the second clip, and when we put them together, the blur is the transition to create the effect that you just saw a few slides ago. So it's a lot easier than it sounds. Once I bring it into Premiere Pro, you're going to go, holy cow, this is so simple to do. So just like before, this assignment is 2 parts. You will create a video clip with the provided exercise files, and then you will create a clip with your own shots. So you're turning in 2 video clips again. The first one from the exercise files I've provided. Then you will come up with your own idea, take the cameras and the tripods, shoot 2 shots that whip in the same direction. One should be indoors and the other should be outdoors, so we could see that you're in 2 different areas. Make sure that your shots are, again, not the same as mine. Do your own idea. Do not copy the idea that I did. And then you'll edit them in Premiere Pro. As always, with these short effects, the video clips that you're turning in are very short, only about 5 to 10 seconds long. That's about it. Okay, so let's get into it. So download the exercise files for today, open them up into a new project in Premiere Pro. Take a second to download them and create your project right now if you haven't already. And now we will bring them in. So the key here is I've given you a few, but pay attention to the ones that are going the same direction. So you can see whip left and whip left. We don't want this whip right one, and that's what I want you to pay attention to when you are shooting your shots, because this is a common error I see when students start, is they take 2 shots but they don't go the same direction, and I'll talk more about what that looks like. So take the 2 that go in the same direction and bring them onto the timeline right next to each other. I'll start with this one. I'm going to start with the outside one because I like starting there, and then we're going to transition to the inside one. So you can see if I just play the video, it's just 2 clips whipping to the left. Next one also whips to the left, just like that. And so far that's the end of the video. So now we just need to create the transition. So we're going to take the first video and we're just going to move the CTI, our blue playhead right here, to the blurriest part of the video. If I move it here, there's the whip, and then there's the blurry part. And this is something to remember when you're doing your shots. Another common error I see as students are just starting is they don't whip the camera fast enough. Remember, the whip pan is a super fast whip. You need to whip to where you see the camera look really blurry, like this. If you don't whip fast enough and it doesn't get blurry enough, your effect won't work and you'll have to reshoot it. So you need to whip it really fast to create this blurry effect. So go right there and get it to the blurriest part of the video. I'm going to say right about there is the blurriest part. And now we're going to trim this clip from the end to that spot. So remember I said we're keeping the first half of the first video. See, I just cut the clip in half and I'm keeping this half. I got rid of the second half. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other clip, except we're keeping the second half. So now I just need to move the playhead to the blurriest part of this clip let's say right about there. That's pretty blurry. That's a good blurry spot right there. Now I'm going to keep this second half right here. So trim that off. So I cut the second half of this clip and I cut the first half of this clip. And now you can see it gets blurry and then the clip ends. And then this one, it gets blurry and the clip begins. So now all I need to do is put these clips back to back. We don't need to do any kind of cross dissolve because the blur will serve as the transition. So it blurs so fast that the human eye can't keep up and it looks like a nice smooth transition. So now watch when I hit play. Just like that. The blur happens so fast that you can't see where the cut is. Perfect. Let me show you an example of what can happen if you do it incorrectly. I'm going to take this one next. Let's go this one that whips to the right. And I'm going to show you this one to see what happens if you do it incorrectly. So this one whips that way. I'm going to clip here. I'll move this one out of the way for a second. So this is something that will happen if you do it incorrectly. The key is to making sure both clips that you shoot whip in the same direction. So you can see this one's going left and this one's going right. So they're not going the same direction. So the effect is not going to look good. Watch what will happen if I hit play. See, it doesn't make any sense. It whips one way and then it whips the other way. You want it to be smooth like it was right here. Nice and smooth like that. They both go the same direction. So if you shoot one direction, make sure your second shot is the same. They can both be right. You can whip left or whip right. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that both clips are going the same direction. They both need to go left or they both need to go right. You can't have one going one way and the other going the other way, or else it won't work. So it's as simple as that. So just like we did before, you're going to turn in your first video, which is this that you just edited with my exercise files, and then you're going to go out, shoot your own shots, put your shots in here in your media bin, and then create a new sequence with your shots to create a second video. So go take the camera and the tripod, make sure you have a nice steady tripod shot like mine is, and take two shots in different areas that whip the same direction, and you'll be exporting and turning in both of your videos. Okay? So have fun and let me know if you have any questions.